Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cheeky Couch podcast. I am your host, Shay. Today, we are recapping the first and second episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 3. So we have the season premiere and the second episode in this Cheeky Couch episode, which I'm really excited about. If you missed it, I also recapped the season finale of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Oh my gosh, was it juicy. So that is up on the pod now. It's also up on my YouTube channel, Cheeky Couch Podcast YouTube channel. Check it out if you are interested. And yeah, we're going to jump right into Salt Lake City because we have 2 episodes, so we need to get rolling. So season 3, episode 1 is called Revenge Marks the Spot. Jen attempts to reunite the ladies. Lisa's rant has redefined her friendship with Meredith. If you remember, last year, Lisa was off camera in her dressing room or in a bathroom or whatever, and she was ranting on Meredith, saying that she's effed everybody in New York City. She's effed half of New York. And honestly, who hasn't? And if you haven't, I feel sorry for you, okay? That's an experience all of us should have. So episode 1 opens with these production shots, early production shots from December of 2019 with the cast. I think they're kind of doing this little initial interview, like tell me who you are, like that type of vibe. It opens with Jen Shah just being cocky as ever, talking about how much money she makes at this job she does, which we now know was a huge scam and a crime. Fraud. She's cocky about it too. She's holding a microphone. She's like, I make millions. She calls herself the Wizard of Oz. I mean, oh my God, this is a bad look. Then we get to Meredith. She's talking about how long she's been friends with Lisa and how they met at the Sundance Film Festival. Lisa's talking about how loyal, how wonderful Meredith is, how much she cherishes their friendship, and just what a great person Meredith is. And Whitney's talking about Heather, saying that they are bloodline cousins, they have a great relationship. And then we have Heather saying the feeling's mutual with Whitney, how great their relationship is, how well they get along. This is funny because these were filmed in 2019. And as we know, everything, like all of this shit, hits the fan this season. I mean, all alliances are broken. Jen Shah's pleading guilty. If you've been watching the sneak peeks, we know that Whitney and Heather are going to have a big falling out, as well as, I mean, we already know from the ending of last season, Lisa and Meredith are on the outs because of the you effed everyone in New York City rant. So it's crazy how much can change in a year or two. And then, of course, it cuts right into all of the disagreements, all of the fights, all the arguing that we're going to see this season. It's going to be so good. I already know it. Then we see Whitney having a bit of a Kendall Jenner moment. She's doing a sound bath. She's doing that thing around the thing, making the sound, and she's sitting there. She's calming. Can I say that I'm loving Whitney's look this season? I like that she has the sandier roots. I think that looks really good. I love the sharp cut on her. She just looks amazing. We see all the castmates kind of getting ready for something. And then Lisa's in her house. She's walking up to the kitchen to talk to her husband. She has a big gulp, in her hand. I love Lisa. Lisa is so me. I need a fountain soda at least once a day. Alok knows when I'm like done filming, when I'm done editing, when I'm coming down at about 9:30, 10, he usually has a fountain soda ready for me. On Friday nights when I do my live streams, my member-only live streams on YouTube, he's always bringing me a fountain soda in the middle of it because I need it. It's like, I'm not a big drinker unless I'm with my friends, but at home on the average night, maybe a glass of wine, and I don't even drink a full glass of wine. I drink spritzers. I mix it, okay? I like a spritzer. I'm a spritzer girl. I need something refreshing, right? Every other night, if I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm drinking a big gulp, and I love it. So I love Lisa. I know she's bad. I know she's terrible. I can't help but love her. I am Team Lisa all the way. So she's telling her husband she's got to go. She's going to meet somebody for lunch. John's like, how you feeling about it? And she's like, I don't know. I'll let you know when I'm done. All things considered, I would assume watching this that she was going to meet with Meredith because she seems kind of nervous and she's like, I gotta go. I'll let you know how it goes. My mind went to she's going to meet Meredith. Then we see Meredith on her phone. She's in a car. She's talking to Truman, her assistant. And Meredith says, I'm pulling up to meet somebody. I'm going to be unreachable for a few hours. It's like they did this so well because I was like, holy shit, they're going to talk like right away in the episode. This is crazy. And then no, they got us. Meredith is meeting up with Jen Shah. Jen Shah, people. And Lisa is meeting up with Heather. I mean, who saw this coming? Not me. This was a great way to start off the episode. Lisa's sitting down and Heather's walking over and she's like, hey, Heather. I love Lisa's voice. I love everything about Lisa. I really do. So Jen Shah and Meredith are going to a little spa. I thought, oh my gosh, I hope those cameras are waterproof this time. If you remember last season, Jen Shah had a little freak out in a dirty ass looking bathtub. I don't care how magical those Salt Lake City mountains are with those bathtubs just sitting in a cliff, okay? That water looks so dirty. Those tubs look so rusted. I'm not doing it. Jen and Meredith do a little chin-chin, a little cheers to not fighting this year, to getting along, to new beginnings, and then Jen immediately goes into, how are you feeling after the whole Lisa blow up last season? You know, the one where Lisa basically accused Meredith of cheating on her husband, of sleeping with half of New York. And Meredith is so committed to the blazer that she's even wearing one in the pool. She's got this pink little blazer swimsuit on. I have never seen this. I mean, and I thought blazer dresses were like original. She has a blazer swimsuit. It's cute. Looks cute as hell. Meredith says, you know, she's been going through it. She's going to be going through it for a while. She's dealing with it, whatever. Clearly, her wounds are still open. Jen Shah says her trial is coming up soon. She's going through a lot. So Jen Shah is planning a birthday party for Coach Shah. We know how these Shah parties go. My question is, when you are going to trial for things like fraud, should you be throwing lavish parties still? Should you be partying at all? Is that a good look? Like, does the court take that into account that you just had a big birthday party? I don't know. To me, it seems like not the right thing to do, but what do I know? Then we pop back over to Heather and Lisa. Heather has a little confessional where she says she agreed to meet with Lisa because Lisa said she needed her. I mean, Lisa's like really on the outs right now. She doesn't have an ally, and Lisa likes an ally. She doesn't have one right now. They do a little cheers, and Lisa says, to us. And Heather's like, to us, I guess? Like, what the fuck is going on? And then we cut right to the chase. Lisa says, I need some help with Meredith. And I feel like you're able to navigate these types of situations differently. And you always say what you're thinking and you end up fine. And now here am I, like, on the outs after saying what I was thinking. And Heather goes, listen, the most sacred thing to Meredith is her family. And you came for her family, which Lisa so did. Lisa does not deserve to be forgiven. I don't think she deserves to be forgiven. If this were me and my friend, if she said I slept with half of New York, I could forgive that. It's probably true. But I wouldn't be able to forgive the comments about my family. I mean, and they were friends. Like, their families were friends. They were basically families. For Lisa to say anything about her family, that's unacceptable. I mean, I would never say that about my friends. I would never talk about their families. That is off limits. Lisa deserves to be in this place. She does not deserve forgiveness simply because she added that family factor. Again, if it was just the sleeping with New York comment, I could let it slide. I'd laugh it off. I'd be like, you're probably right. The family shit, too dark, too deep, yikes. Then Meredith is talking to Jen Shah about the whole situation and about how Lisa called Meredith a garbage trash whore, and Jen Shah, being Jen Shah, was like, Meredith needs to monetize that shit. Make, you know, trash whore bag t-shirts or whatever. Listen, I would buy it. I wouldn't wear it, but as a collector of Real Housewives memorabilia, I would buy it, but I don't think that many people really would. And then Meredith came for Lisa's freaking blood this season. We're only 8 minutes and 42 seconds into the episode, and Meredith is coming after Lisa, telling Jen all the claims she has heard about Lisa's having affairs, you know, financial problems. She's sleeping with people and doing sexual favors to get her Vita tequila into stores. Heather's telling Lisa, listen, you gotta eat some humble pie. You gotta admit that you're sorry, you did wrong, you gotta eat this shit. In Lisa's confessional, she says, I've eaten so much humble pie, I'm surprised I can fit in this dress. I need Lisa as a character. I don't care how terrible she is. I love her. I need her. Now we're at Winnie's house and her beautiful little daughter, Bobby, with that gorgeous red hair of hers. I love that color. She is making a pro and cons list about guys at 12 years old. Okay, priorities. Winnie's husband comes in, Bobby's father, and says he's really worried there are not as many cons as there are pros. I mean, she's just not old enough to know all the cons that come with penises. There's quite a few. And then Heather shows up. We have weather in the house. Wendy's like, I need your help. I need you to tag in here. Bobby's making a pro and cons list about boys. And then, I'm sorry, this, I know she's just being funny. I think this is completely inappropriate. If someone said this to my daughter, I'd be so pissed off. Little Miss Bobby Rose had attractive listed on her pros list, and Heather crossed it out and said, girl, ugly sex is going to change your life. And I was just, my jaw dropped. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm really not a prude. I hope you can tell that by now. I am so crass and disgusting. But when it comes to kids, there's a line. Inappropriate. I would be so mad if I was little Bobby Rose's parents sitting right there listening to this filth. Inappropriate. Then we go downstairs in Whitney's house. Whitney and her husband have turned the room into like or a corner of the room into like the coolest speakeasy with like a library door that shuts. It's so cool. And there is a beautiful charcuterie board here. I live in New Jersey. We love our charcuterie, okay? We take our deli meats very seriously. Can I just point something out? If any of you guys watch Sister Wives, which I am starting Sister Wives, I know we're like mid into the new season. I have all the episodes recorded. I just need to edit them. It's a lot of work. What I've noticed with the Salt Lake City women is that they say big dill, just like the Brown family says on Sister Wives. Everything is a big dill. Big dill. They all say it that way. I know it's just a regional accent. It's just really funny to me. Also, P.S., by the way, I know this would never ever happen in a million years, but I would give my husband up if I could just get a Sister Wives crossover where we just see Christine out at a bar or something now that she is leaving Cody. She wants to go back to Salt Lake City. I would die to see Christine cross over with the Salt Lake City women. I mean, oh my God. I know it would make no sense, but I need it. Like, I dream about it. It is the crossover I deserve for sticking through Sister Wives for like 20 plus seasons, and it's been so painful. So we deserve it. We'll never get it, but that would be amazing. Whitney is telling Heather about how she's been on this healing journey. There's this woman, Megan, that she's been working with. She's like a shaman or something like that, a spiritual healer. Clearly, we're getting into Whitney has some trauma that she is trying to recover from. We're really going to see that play into effect into the next episode. It's really, really sad. But yeah, she's just talking about her spiritual journey. And I'm proud of her and I'm happy for her that she's really taking initiative and taking control of her life, where I'm sure for many years it felt a little out of her control for most of her life. You know what I mean? So especially in this community, I'm really, really proud of her. So through this healing process, Whitney has come to realize she needs to cut her ties with the church altogether. She wants her name removed from the Mormon church. She talks about how they still like show up for money and people are always like watching her, checking in on her. I need to say this because I don't want anyone to feel attacked for their religion. If you should be watching and you're Mormon and it works for you and your family and it's a big part of your life and you love it, I support you fully. It's none of my business and I don't judge you. From my standpoint, having left my religion too, which is just Christianity, and growing up in the Midwest, which isn't technically the Bible Belt, but it very much is. Like, the Midwest is very religious in their own ways. We have FLDS places in the Midwest. I've seen a lot. My uncle Jerry actually lives next to the compound that was raided. It's so terrible. So I've witnessed a lot of weird religious stuff growing up. At the time, I didn't know what it was, and now looking back, I'm shocked at what I witnessed. I just have to say, this gives me very Scientology vibes. Remember Leah Remini's docuseries she did about Scientology? And then Whitney tells us about this website where she can literally just go to quitmormon.com and like submit to have her name removed from all the Mormon records and ledger and whatever. So that's super handy. They are making everything so efficient these days, including renouncing your religion. I love it. Then Miss Whitney signs the document, prints it out, signs it, and I guess that's it. And we do have a little moment with Heather in her confessional where it looks like, oh my gosh, it's so interesting. She looks so terrified of what Whitney's doing right now. And at the same time, I think she looks almost envious of it, not in a negative way. I think she wishes she could do this, but she's so afraid that it will just be the final nail in the coffin for her family. Oh, this is so painful. I feel bad because I know she's really not on speaking terms with a lot of her family. A lot of them really do not care for her behavior, her actions. We saw that last season. In my opinion, I don't follow the whole blood is thicker than water argument. I don't. Sometimes you have to create your own family. Sometimes your family is not good for you. And sometimes you just stay stuck for years and years and years in your life trying to appease these people who will so easily turn their backs on you simply for leaving a religion that isn't working for you. It kills me to see Heather in so much pain over this. And I don't agree with blood thicker than water. Sometimes you have to create your own family, and sometimes you're going to lose your family, but you have to do what's right for you, you know? So anyway, I hope Heather finds her peace and her happiness. Now we're at Jen Shah's new house. It's much smaller than her previous one. It's still way nicer than mine. I heard a lot of podcasters talking about how shitty this house is, and I'm like, this is a nice house. This is not a shitty house. Sure, it's not her, Shah Manor or whatever the hell she called it, but this is a nice house. We then see Coach Shah. And I ask you guys, do you believe that Coach Shah did not know what his wife was doing? I don't like to accuse anybody of anything, but I just think it's hard not to know, personally. But Jen's telling us about how she wants to throw this birthday party, and she introduces her friend Angie. I believe her name is Angie. And she says that they can have the party at her house, and everyone on the cast kind of knows Angie in some way. So interesting. We're going to meet a new possible addition to the show. And her house is gorge. It's jaw-dropping. I'm not big into all the marble. I mean, it's everything. The floors are my favorite thing. They're the floors I want. I love her sunken couches. I mean, it's so, I love it. Jen says the theme of his birthday party is Harlem Nights because he loves that movie. And Coach Shah is so freaking hilarious. He says, if you remember, Harlem Nights is in Harlem. We're in Salt Lake City, okay? There's not a lot of black people here. Are you going to import them? And I was like, oh my God. I mean, if it was going to be all white guests, it would be so weird and honestly inappropriate to have a Harlem Nights themed party. I don't know. It seems weird. And she goes, actually, yeah, we are going to. Jen shares that she's going to be inviting some of his fraternity brothers, and he's excited about that. And then he says, what I don't want this party to be is an excuse for people to like come to heads, basically, to address something, get something out there that they've been holding on to. And I can only imagine the Bravo producer in the background just being like, yikes, sorry, bro. This is like the first group get together of the season. It's happening. Sorry. They will not miss an opportunity to have a feud at a party with liquor and Mormons. Okay, we're not missing out. Now we're back with Meredith and her husband at their home. He brought home groceries. He got some ramen. Meredith is like, what the hell is this? I mean, who doesn't like a good bowl of ramen? Meredith thinks they're like, it's like college food, which yeah, it is, but I'll take a bowl of ramen at like any point in my lifetime. She's talking about how they're empty nesters now, and so they've really been enjoying traveling. And she throws a little shade to Lisa, saying, despite what Lisa says, I could buy multiple homes if I wanted to. So there you go, flexing on them. And she shares she's also worried about Lisa's little rant, how it would affect her husband's business, and then they start attacking John Barlow. Like, what does he do for a living? She says he just follows Lisa around, and then we get this amazing cutscene of last season when he's just driving her around, buying her Diet Cokes. I'm not joking you, this looks like my life. Like, I make a Alok do this for me all the time. Like, I love this. I love getting a soda. I love that he's a supportive husband. I don't think this is, the insult that Meredith seems to think it is. I love that he's with his wife so much, whether he's buying her a soda or he's driving her around for whatever reason. I love it. It's cute. Meredith says, I heard that they own this distillery, but they never go to Mexico. Like, have you ever seen them go to Mexico? I think a lot of people own a lot of shit that they never go and visit. You know what I mean? Actually, what I really like about the Salt Lake City cast is that they're not Beverly Hills wealthy, okay? They're wealthy, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit more of an obtainable ideal wealth. Like, I think a lot of the cast is only worth like $1 million to $2 million. Some say even less. So I appreciate that it's a more obtainable goal. They feel more relatable to me in that way. But it does make me question how they're buying so much designer stuff. I mean, some of these ladies are a little designer crazy. That shit adds up. And then Meredith throws some shade to Lisa, saying that they crowdfunded their business. On Watch What Happens Live, Lisa had a witty little retort, and she said, if anyone wants any advice on crowdfunding, blah, 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 something, 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 feel free to DM me. So she was like, it's totally fine. It's not a big deal. And also, I don't think we should be shamed for trying to make something of ourselves. You know what I mean? What was she supposed to be born with like absurd wealth and live off of that? I appreciate that they're trying to make a go of it at an opportunity. Meredith then says, I think we've all seen it at this point, She does not sleep with someone for money, and that's what a whore is. That's what Lisa called Meredith. And Meredith says, maybe Lisa knows something about that. I don't. And they ask, are you insinuating that Lisa sleeps with people for money? And she just drinks out of her little New York cup. I heart New York cup. Amazing. Hilarious. Which is so funny and so shady, considering I don't think Meredith is the best at shade. I don't think she's super shady. So I appreciate a Meredith shade moment. All right, it is finally time for Sharif's 51st birthday party. Again, this is being hosted at Angie's house, a friend of the cast, really. I appreciate this Angie girl. I don't know anything about her yet, but I'm going to say she's a girl's girl, because even though all this shit is going down with Jen Shah, maybe she's trying to save herself a placeholder now that I think about it, if in case they need another member of the cast, if Jen Shah does go away. But I like that Jen Shah's in all this heat. I appreciate that this woman still would host Jen Shah's husband's birthday party here. A lot of people would probably want to distance themselves, not be connected to that. So I think it's nice that she put her home out like that. But then the more I thought about it, I thought, maybe she is just trying to introduce herself in case there's an opening soon. But this is also a fairly small cast. I think we only have like 5 women? Aren't there usually 6? Except for like the last season of New York Housewives, which we don't even want to talk about. And New York Housewives is my favorite Housewives. I'm so disappointed about what's happened to it because it's my number one forever. Above all else, New York Housewives is tops, but not the last few seasons. I'm sad we lost to Jenny last season. Can I just say, I really liked her. I'm sad that we lost her. I don't know why we did. But then as I'm watching this, I'm like, you know what? I'm not missing Jenny. I'm not like, where's Jenny? It was the shock factor when I first saw the cast photo for the new season that Jenny wasn't a part of it. But now that I'm watching it, I'm like, I don't know where Jenny fit in, I guess. I just really enjoyed Jenny, and I hope we still see her like as a friend of the show. Also, do you guys think Mary's gonna come back? I've been seeing a lot of buzz that they think Mary's gonna like surprise pop in like mid-season. I don't think Mary's coming back, but a lot of people have their speculations. And I'm glad Andy Cohen said this recently. I think he said it on Radio Andy. I can't remember, but he said that there are just too many 1920s parties. And as someone who is obsessed with the 1920s, I couldn't agree more. There's too many 1920s parties, okay? Too many. Every single franchise does one. They just did one last year. I get it with the whole prohibition theme. It kind of fit in, but it's too much. Darling, it's too much. Too much. Everyone's arriving. Everyone looks gorgeous. I don't want to compliment her. I don't know what to say about this woman because you're innocent until proven guilty. Does that still stick though if you like take a plea deal? Is that still a thing? I don't know. Jen Shah looks amazing. I love her outfits. I don't love her fur. Oh, that's one thing I really wanted to say, by the way. Has anyone noticed the Salt Lake City women wear an absurd amount of real fur? How are we still wearing fur? I eat meat. Okay, I do. I'm not a vegan. I eat meat. I love the fuck out of some steak. Are you kidding me? You buy me a steak, I will literally do anything. I mean anything. Ask my husband. But the amount of fur that they wear on this show is shocking to me. I mean, I don't know how PETA's not banging down the door of production every episode. Anyway, Jen Shah looks unbelievable. I love this like diamond thing she has going on in her hair. It looks so freaking cool. But it's that same vibe. I don't know how to respond because I'm like, you supposedly frauded all these vulnerable people, the elderly people, people who are at their most vulnerable to be taken advantage of, and you scam them and take their money. I really don't feel like complimenting your outfit. I don't know. I feel weird. And actually, I feel like Jen Shah is getting a big pass from a lot of fans. I see people still loving Jen Shah. And I do feel like Erica took quite a bigger beating. Now, mind you, Erica was certainly more nasty about the situation, and she didn't want to call people victims and blah, 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 blah. Jen Shah's really not talking about the victims, so maybe that's why she's getting a little bit more of a pass. But I just find it really interesting. And like Erica wasn't even the one who necessarily committed the crimes. It was her husband. So I just find it interesting the difference in treatment between the two. Lisa is chatting it up and we see Meredith come in. Lisa's talking to somebody. She's like, we're doing a hard seltzer right now. It's like crazy. Like, and then she looks over and Meredith is walking up. And this is so awkward. Have you had these moments where you're on the outs with somebody and you have to be at a group activity of some sort, at some point you end up next to each other and it's like, well, what the fuck do we do? Should we say hi? Should we ignore each other? This is so awkward, especially when you were like besties. Like, this is awkward. Glenn Davis rolls up, aka Big Baby. He is a friend of Sharif's, and Heather is like, hey. She doesn't actually say that, but the vibes are there. She goes to Sharif and she says, tell me about Big Daddy. Is that your friend? Like, she is ready, because if we remember her date last season, it didn't really work out. He didn't drink. I think she was trying to loosen up a little bit more. I don't know. It didn't vibe. The vibes weren't there. They didn't mesh well, okay? But she saw Big Baby and her eyes were aflutter. The night is rolling on. Heather starts to talk to Meredith and she says, listen, I talked to Lisa. I haven't had the chance to talk to you about it yet. And I don't want to burden the night with it, but the fact that you're here is a sign of maturity. And Meredith is like, no, it's not a big deal. I'm not the one who should be at home in the corner, crying about this situation. It's not a big deal to me. I didn't do anything wrong. We get to see Sharif's mother for a minute. This woman is tall. She is towering over Sharif, and she seems like so much fun. She is ready to get her drink on. I think it's nice for Sharif, being the spouse of Jen, who committed these crimes. Sharif technically didn't, that we know of, or was involved that we know of. I love how everybody really came out for his birthday, his family, his friends. And then Jen makes a birthday speech to Coach Sharif. And she said it was really important for her to show how much she cares and loves him, because they've been through a lot this year and she's really grateful for him this year. And it's emotional. Both her and Sharif are really tearing up. Sharif seems like just absolutely choked up. He has like a lump in his throat. As she says, she's so grateful that they have so many friends who love them and care for them, because they've had such a hard year. Again, I don't feel sorry for Jen that she's had a hard year. I feel sad for her children. Most importantly, her children. That's who I'm most worried about. But everyone says, we love you. They're all shouting. So they have quite a support system, considering the charges she has against her. And then we see John and Lisa's husband hug it out. They ask how each other's doing. And it's as awkward as you can imagine. John's like, are you in town long? And Seth's like, yeah, this week. Like, he's deer in the headlights, nervous, awkward. And John says, if you can break away, let me know. And Seth is like, yeah. I don't know what to say. It's funny and it's also not funny, because I feel bad that the husbands now kind of have to be weird, you know what I mean? Because Seth pauses for the longest time. He just goes, and he's just holding his hands up and he's like trying to find the words and he can't find the words. And he goes, whatever our wives are. And then he doesn't really say anything else. He's like still pausing. And then John goes, yeah. But then he finds his words and he says, I'm not accountable for Meredith's behavior and you're not accountable for Lisa's behavior. And then they both like smile, and I feel like you can physically see the kind of like weight lift off them a little bit. I bet they were nervous as well. If they have to like stop being friends, do they stop going golfing? Like, what do they do? And I'm sure it'll never be the same until this relationship is mended, but they complimented each other's outfits, and it looks like at least they're okay for now. Heather and Whitney are out at the gambling table. I don't know. I'm not a gambler. I don't know what that is. Is it like poker? Blackjack, perhaps? I know the housewives love a good blackjack. Big Baby is lighting up a cigar for Heather, and then Lisa comes and sits down. And I'm sorry, I love Lisa. I think she's so adorable. I know that she's a shitty friend, but I love her. She's like, what if I have the king? I don't know. She makes me laugh. Heather says, are you going to talk to Seth and Meredith? Lisa says, it's not the time. Everyone agrees. Heather says, we can save it for later. It's not what it's about tonight. And then the girls start planning their first group trip before Jen heads off to New York for her trial and sentencing and all of that. So they decide on Scottsdale, Arizona, because Jen Shaw cannot travel outside of the country right now. It brings me back to Real Housewives of New Jersey. On Real Housewives of New Jersey, when Teresa was going through all of her stuff, when she was going away, they wouldn't say that she wasn't allowed to travel, so they just took a ton of Jersey Shore trips, which is like, it's what we do in the summer here every year, but housewives travel internationally. So when they're staying in the States, it's for a specific reason, usually. It's so funny. I don't know if it was edited this way, but right after Lisa leaves the table where Heather and Whitney are sitting at, she goes back inside and she beelines it for Meredith, and she goes, hi. gives Meredith a big old hug. Meredith is being cordial. She's like, hi, hello. Lisa says, we don't have to do this right now, but at some point when you're ready, I would love to talk to you. Meredith has a confessional, and she says that she's had 2 months since the reunion show to talk to her, and she hasn't yet. Lisa gave reasons, I don't remember what they were, but Lisa gave reasons as to why she didn't on Watch What Happens Live. Ultimately, Meredith agrees to talk at some point. She still obviously doesn't look happy though. And then Lisa goes up to Seth and she's like, hey Seth, how are you? Can I hug you? Is it okay? Like, this is so awkward. She's like forcing herself on them when I'm pretty sure they don't want anything to do with her right now. Seth really doesn't seem to want to hug her. And then I'm pretty sure, I can't tell, but it looks like Lisa's tearing up a little bit. I don't see any tears on the cheeks. I don't see a steady stream. But I think talking to Seth is breaking her. I think it's just really coming to her how much she fucked up, how much she shouldn't have done that. I feel like I relate to this and I don't know why. I feel like I could be feuding with somebody and, when I'm around them, I'm still a little stiff. But if you talk to their spouse, if you talk to their relative or whatever about the situation, it like makes you cry more because I think it really puts it into perspective how many other people you hurt in this situation. Honestly, I don't know that I've ever been in that situation, but I could just see this happening. I would break too. I think talking to the husband, I would break as well. I'd be more embarrassed talking to the husband than I would be the friend that I called a whore who slept with half of New York. So he says, you made some comments about me that I couldn't believe either. I mean, this man is hurt. You see the pain in this man's eyes. That's gotta kill ya. He looks like a kicked puppy dog. I think he really loved their family's friendship together, and Lisa just like really did fuck it all. Oh, she is crying. I see the tear. There is a glossy tear on those cheeks. She says, I can't believe I said those things. I don't think that about you at all. I think if she properly apologizes to everyone, to Meredith, to her family, literally to Seth, to her children, in a more formal setting, not at a party, I think she needs to really own up, apologize appropriately, directly, and really just put your heart on the line. I think all will be forgiven. And I would think that they would just toss it to the side and be like, all right, we're starting new. I don't think it'll ever be the same, but I think that they will give you forgiveness. I really do. And I have to say, I don't know that I believe that Lisa truly thinks all the things she said about them. I think it was just a heated moment. It got the better of her. And Lisa is trying to sell it to Seth right now. She's like, it came from a place of hurt. I didn't mean it. I don't remember saying those things. Everyone got me hyped on the bus, on the trip. I never felt this way until the trip. Everyone was saying, Meredith isn't your friend. And I was hurt. She's like, does that make sense? And he's like, no, not really. I can't imagine ever saying that about anybody that we love. He was like, I wouldn't say anything like that about you. And then John peeps at them from in the corner and he's like, oh shit, Lisa's talking to Seth. Lisa claims she's a girl's girl. She has 3 sisters that she's responsible for, and that she's going through a lot too, and no one ever knows what's going on with her. That could all be true. These are excuses. It doesn't validate what she said. And it doesn't really resolve. He goes, it is what it is. I'm hurt. Meredith is hurt. So I guess we just keep moving forward. And that's it. He really never accepts her apology. It wasn't really an apology. It was a list of excuses. And he looks uncomfortable and it's just painful. Lisa needs to ask for forgiveness in a more appropriate setting. Seth goes over to Meredith and Meredith is pissed that he was talking to her. And he's like, what do you want me to do? Like, she had him cornered. And you know how Lisa is. Lisa's like frantic the way she speaks. You really can't back away from Lisa. She gets this close to your face and like she holds you there. She will not let you go. She's all consuming. So I feel bad that now Seth is getting the brunt of Meredith because he really did stand up and he didn't give in. The only one who lost tonight was Seth. So Lisa and John dip out. Lisa, I don't know if this is a faux fur, but it doesn't look like it. If this is a faux fur, it is a nice faux fur. I don't think this is a faux fur. These women love their fur. I told you. And that is it for the first episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We are now rolling into episode number 2. Episode number 2 is titled Searching for Serenity, as in the beverage. Jen gets emotional support from her mom. Lisa talks to Jack about his future. And of course, episode 2 is always exciting because we get to hear their taglines. Jen Shah's line is, I'm fighting for my life, not your approval. Whitney's tagline is, I'm more of a free spirit without the Holy Spirit. Okay, Lisa's is I'll always have your back if you stop stabbing me in mine. It's like so aggressive. Like, what the hell? Meredith's is when I take a shot, I always hit my mark. And Heather, surprisingly, is confirming something that we learned in the new season. She is, in fact, a good time girl. She said that she may be a bad Mormon, but she is always a good time. So there we go. Case closed. It's settled. Heather is a good time girl, which I still don't understand what the problem with that is. Love a good time girl. We open with Meredith and Seth playing a round of, I believe it's pickleball. And what is going on with pickleball? I see it everywhere, and I don't know why everyone plays pickleball. Then we're with Heather. She's chatting with her daughter who had a sorority thing the night before. It was Thirsty Thursday. Did you guys have a Thirsty Thursday? I didn't go to college. I went to cosmetology school. I was doing Thirsty Thursdays like long after the time I would have been done college. So I remember it for sure. And then Lisa and her husband are talking to their son about college. What's next for him in his life? Jen's at her new house feeding her dog pastrami. I'm just saying, these look like pretty good cuts for somebody who is facing these fraud charges and to be giving it to a dog. Just saying. Jen's mom rolls in. She's a saint. She gave Jen money, if you remember, her retirement money to help her out. Jen has put together the worst looking charcuterie board I've ever seen in my life. I'm trying to make it out. Now, it's keto friendly, but hey, you can charcute on keto very well. It is possible. And it can look better than this. This looks terrible. First of all, there's like only 3 olives. There's like 3 olives. If there's going to be 2 of you, put 4. Okay? Put 4. There's, I don't know. Listen, I live in Jersey. We have so much meat and I have no idea what those sausage links are. I've never seen such a thing. We have like Hormel pepperoni. Okay, not even good cuts. Not even good cuts. There's like these crispy treats of some sort. These little crispy cakes. And like pastrami. Where's the grapes? Are grapes not keto? This is the worst looking, and I love how they like super zoomed in on the charcuterie board, by the way. They definitely wanted us to observe how different it was than Whitney's beautiful charcuterie board. This looks like shit. And I think they want us to know that. I think it's like, oh no, her charcuterie sucks because she, is going through all this. Whatevs. So they're both sitting down to do a little puzzle and eat this very sad charcutes. Jen starts talking about what's going on in her case right now. She says yesterday they had a mock trial where she had to hear the prosecution side. She said it was really rough because you have to sit there and listen to obviously the prosecution side and you're not allowed to say anything. You have to just sit there and listen. I would love to hear that. I really would. And she actually said that she stormed out twice. What the heck? I don't think you should do that. And then she flies out to New York next week. Because remember, this is like a New York crime. Last season, the Homeland Security and the NYPD came for her ass. And super sad, she says Sharif walked in on Omar, their son, and he was crying. He's so scared to be without his mother. I mean, yeah, it sucks. That's who my sympathy I think that's who all of us can agree. All of our sympathy goes towards her children who aren't going to have their mother now. Let's be honest. She's facing I think it's got taken down to 11 years now. It was 135 months or something like that. Who knows? We'll see. But this is big. They're going to be without their mother. I mean, this is really, really hard. And then Jen is full meltdown, tears, crying. I'm sure she's very overwhelmed with what's going on. She says she's being bullied online every day, and Sharif has to come home and build her back up so she doesn't, do something to herself. Trigger warning. Her mom looks really frustrated. She's like, I don't know what you want me to say. And she looks frustrated. I'm sure I'd be frustrated too if I had to give my retirement to my child who effed up. I mean, I'd obviously do it in a heartbeat, but gosh, that's a heavy price to pay. She says, I don't have answers for you other than I need you here. Okay. So she's getting at don't do anything stupid or rash. Now we are at Whitney's house, and I feel like this is so shady. They again showed this beautiful charcuterie board that she has presented. Meredith is coming up, and it's an amazing charcuterie board. The difference between these two charcuterie boards is really depressing. Side note, let me just ask you guys, if you have one of those Ring doorbells, I have one too, and every time I'm watching the Housewives and you hear their Ring doorbell go off, my pets freak out, my cats, because they think it's ours every single time. So Meredith rolls up. I've seen a lot of people call this kind of a Beetlejuice look. She has a very interesting white and black striped leather jacket on. I don't love it, but it's Salt Lake City. It's, it might be pretty normal down there because it's almost a little western yet modern. So maybe that's the vibe over there. I know the clothes back in South Dakota are a lot different than what people are wearing here in Jersey, so I try not to judge, but I think it's hideous. And isn't it so funny that both Whitney and Meredith have a son named Brooks? I find that fascinating. But anyway, the girlies go outside, they have their wine. Meredith has a blanket. They brought the charcutes and they're going to just gab about everything going on right now. Meredith says she had fun at the party, but it's just awkward. She thinks Lisa is super hypocritical. She won't be accountable for her actions. She says Lisa badmouths everyone in the group. And then, of course, they have this perfect little compilation of Lisa talking shit on everyone in the group. I don't know. Again, I don't like the fact that they're treating this like Lisa's the only one who gossips. If you're on Real Housewives, you have to be a gossiper. You just have to be. It's the only way they get confrontations going. And I don't think all of it's super malicious. I think she's just venting half the time and the cameras are there. I would love to see what everyone else is saying without cameras there to their spouses. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's talking shit. Let's be honest. And Meredith says, why are you trying to start all this when there's all these rumors flying around about you? And Whitney's face is like, tea. She says, well, what have you heard? And like, clearly Whitney has heard something as well. And then I'm so excited because we just got like a new favorite scene that will be played on Twitter for the rest of time. Whitney says, well, what have you heard? And she's like staring at Meredith. And Meredith, really, for some reason, I'm like, was this editing? I don't understand. Did they make this longer? Like, it is so hilarious. Meredith real quick like throws a big ass cracker in her mouth and they're both staring at each other and Meredith is just chewing on this cracker and it's so loud. Like it's just chomping away on this cracker and they're just staring at each other. I saw someone post this scene on Twitter today and it said like, me when I make someone eat a cracker with mind control, and that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like Whitney is like mind controlling Meredith to like shove this cracker in her mouth and start eating it. It looks like the Beetlejuice dinner scene where everything's just like happening. You know, it's I can't explain it to you. You have to see it. If you haven't watched it yet, it's at the 10-minute, 5-second mark, okay? Get there. It's worth the entire episode. So Meredith shares that she's heard that Lisa is doing sexual favors, like we discussed in the beginning, to have Vita Tequila placed in different locations. And Whitney says she has heard the same thing. There's only one world where I can imagine this happening, and it's in the office when Meredith is sleeping with the supplier to get better discounts on their office needs, okay? That's the only world where I just see this existing. I know things like this happen in real life. I'm just saying I don't see it with Lisa. I don't see it with Lisa. I mean, no offense, and not to be crude, but does Lisa have like a unicorn vagina? Why would just having sex with Lisa get these big billionaire men to invest in Vita Tequila? Seriously? Like, seriously? I don't know. I don't think I'm buying it. And then Whitney shares that in her last energy healing session with her energy healer, she was able to connect with Lisa. And then they show Megan, the energy healer, like going over Whitney's body. And she says, you know, what's popping up for you? And Whitney says Lisa. She's like connecting to Lisa in this moment, which is so random. But Whitney shockingly kind of comes to Lisa's defense a little bit because she believes she connected with Lisa's inner child. And for this reason, she believes there's something worth fighting for with Lisa. There's something worth saving there with the friendship and all. So, okay. Meredith doesn't agree, but they have this trip coming up, and Whitney claims that she's gonna totally hijack this and make this about inner healing. And we know how these peaceful type of trips go with the Housewives. It's never peaceful, ever. We're at Lisa's. She is shooting some hoops with Jack and asking him about his college plans, which his college plans are not to go to college. He thinks that he will make more money and be more successful without spending the money on college, which I think is just really stupid because I think his parents could probably very much afford to send him to college. A lot of kids apply for it and do it themselves, and they're burdened with loans for the rest of their lives. Not that he might not have some loans, but his parents are clearly supporting him in going to college, but he's a little cocky. He's a little young. I was this way too. I ended up not going to college, and honestly, I regret it. I'm not saying I would have been more successful with it, but I do regret not having that experience, at least for the social aspect of it. But he's very confident in his hair company. He says, I already own a company, and he's just very cocky about it. Considering, okay, maybe it's his company, but let's be honest, his parents did it. You can't get too confident just yet. But he's just a kid. He'll learn. He'll figure it out. Next, we're with Whitney and Justin, and this broke my heart watching this. This really affected me. My jaw dropped. I didn't see this coming. You can just tell Whitney's been through it. She's a little puffy. She's been crying. She's talking to her husband. She's like, let's have a drink. Like, can you talk with me for a minute? Like, you can just tell she really, really needs his support right now. She shares that she just got off the phone with her half-brother, Will. And watching this, I was like scared that like Will did something because her face, like it's a face of horror. This is real. This is no act. This is someone who's been through something. You just can't fake these types of reactions and facial features. I mean, maybe you can, but this is so serious, and I don't even feel comfortable really even talking about it on the podcast because it's her life, it's her trauma, and it just feels inappropriate a little bit. But I'll just give some context really quickly. She sits down with her husband. She talks about how Will has been doing this therapy that helps you recover memories. And it's interesting, I've actually looked into this because of my epilepsy. There are certain things, I don't know what I don't remember, but I know that I've experienced a few memory loss situations because of movies. It sounds crazy, but Alok and I are huge movie buffs. There's no movie that we don't see. We talk about movies nonstop. We watch movies every night, at least 2. Mind you, we are childless millennials, so we have time for things like that. But the first time we realized that I was experiencing some sort of memory loss situation was because of the Black Panther. We were watching TV one night, we were watching something, and I saw Black Panther on demand, like to rent or to buy, and I was like, ooh, this looks good, what is this? And Alok was just like, what do you mean? It's Black Panther. Like, because we went to it in theaters. We actually went with my father. We never go to movies with my father. So it should be a really memorable situation. And I had never seen it. To me, I've never seen it. I have no memory of the Black Panther whatsoever. Not that it's the same type of memory loss. So since we realized that, I have looked into these things. It's hard to say what you do and don't remember, though. You know what I mean? So I don't know that it's worth it because we go through things all the time. We talk about certain memories and certain times, and for the most part, I think I can remember most things. Like, I don't know what I'm missing, you know what I mean? If anything really, really big started coming up that I was like, what are you talking about? Then maybe I would look into something like this, but I think I'm really only forgetting small moments, and honestly, maybe I don't even need to remember them, so who cares? But anyway, sorry, back to the show. Her brother's been doing that therapy to recover memory loss, and it has led him to remember times of abuse in the family. And Whitney actually doesn't remember parts of her childhood, and Will has helped her realize that she believes there was abuse that she's just not remembering. My hair is standing on ends. I feel awful for her. When I was watching this last night, I had to keep pausing because it's like I wanted to get it over with, and then yet I wanted to hear exactly what she was saying, but it kept being too real. Do you know what I mean? It's too real. And I love her husband. I really do. I don't know anything about him or his situation before her. He just looks so caring and sweet, and I feel like you can see the pain on his face that just watching his wife go through this. This was such a hard moment, and it's a big moment because this is probably involving the Mormon church. It's a big deal for her to be sharing something like this on television when she knows her family's going to watch and she's leaving the church and all that. It's a big deal, as they would say, to lighten the mood a little bit. But no, my heart goes out to Whitney, and I'm thankful that she shared this part of her life with us. I'm really scared to see where this goes in the season, but I hope it brings her happiness and relief and better energy that she's clearly looking for. I hope she finds her peace with all of this. All right, so the girlies are all packing for their trip to Arizona. Heather's at her house with her daughters. They see her lingerie and they are shocked beyond belief. And honestly, I love that they're not like shamey or moms are still women. I know this is a obvious fact, but moms are still women. And I think when I was younger, I didn't look at my mom as a woman. I looked at her as my mom. And if I found my mom's lingerie, I would probably pass out and I'd be so upset. And these girls are just like cool as a cucumber. They're laughing at her, of course, but they're being really nice and they're not shamey or weird. Then we go to Jen Shah and Coach Shah's house. She's packing and she's telling him about this party they were planning. It's called the Garbage Trash Whore Lingerie Party. We then hear from Whitney, who's excited to go on this trip. She wasn't sure it was the best time, but she called her brother and he said, you need to get down here, be amongst family. We will stick by you. We'll work through this together. So I imagine she's going to visit family while also being on this girls' trip. Whitney and Lisa head to the airport early. They are taking an early flight together. I think it was really nice for Whitney to invite Lisa to come with her early just because they're obviously trying to avoid an awkward, tense flight or situation with the rest of the group who doesn't care for Lisa so much right now. So I think this is really nice of Whitney. Even with everything that she has going on, she still thinks about others. I mean, Whitney rocks. She really does. I love Whitney. Whitney, if you should ever so see this, sending my love to you, sending my support to you, as I'm sure we all are. The rest of the girlies land in Arizona, and Heather does not have many nice things to say about Arizona. Heather says that Arizona is the redheaded stepchild of Utah. I am so sorry to my Arizonians out there. And Meredith shares that they would have loved Bali, Saint-Tropez, something like that. Jen Shah can't fly internationally. So it's USA all the way. The ladies pull up to the home that they'll be staying in on the girls' trip, and they are met by the property manager. First of all, these women, their outfits are so gorgeous. And I'm not talking about the Salt Lake Cities. I'm talking about the property management team here who's handing out cocktails. And then we finally get our first mention of Mary, I think. Whitney shares that she feels that she has just stepped foot into Mary's grand living room or whatever, four-way. And the house does have very Mary vibes. It's a little outdated. It's still probably a multi-million-dollar house, but it's very outdated. The furniture is hideous, but this is a nice house, okay? So Whitney and Lisa head out to the jacuzzi. They're going to get some sun and drink their cocktails. Whitney discovers she can put the stem of her glass in between her boobs and drink out of it. It's giving Breakfast Club lipstick application, but with cocktails. I mean, what could be better, right? Lisa is so desperate for friendship right now. She knows she's on the outs with everyone. She's clearly so uncomfortable. So she's like, I'm so happy that you let me come here with you early. Thank you. I'm so excited. We don't get to spend enough time together alone. And it's like, she's like, don't leave me. I feel like she's just screaming at her, like, don't leave me, please. I need support here. And then Whitney opens up about the fact that she's blocked out a lot of her childhood from her memories and that she's kind of on this healing journey. So it's nice to see Whitney open up to one of her friends about the situation. This gets Lisa to open up about her childhood trauma as well, and talking about how she definitely went through some sort of parentification situation growing up. I think a lot of us who had two parents working outside of the home dealt with this. I know I did. I'm the oldest sibling of 3. I don't think it was intentional. I don't think words like parentification were spoken very much when I was young. But this happens a lot to older children of the family when parents work outside the home. There always seems to be a little bit of parentification when the parents need help. So the girlies come out to the pool. It's super awkward. No one is looking at Lisa. Lisa's just sitting there hugging her little knees. Meredith brought flowers and Jen brought a balloon and said, like, I brought you a cock, but it's like a chicken or a hen. I don't know if it's a riff off of a hen party or like, I don't get the joke. Where did they even find this chicken? Is this chicken really readily available? This chicken balloon? Honestly, that was the most shocking thing to me in this episode. They move into the kitchen. They're getting the lowdown on the weekend. Whitney lets everyone know her energy healer, her shaman, is coming, and that this person recommended they do not drink for this session. Heather is hilarious. She's like, did you tell them anything about our background? Like, no one is thrilled. Like, we expect to drink. And quite frankly, I expect my Real Housewives to drink on girls' trips. It's required. I need that drama. I need that juice, honey. You're drinking. Get over it. And Whitney makes a funny comment. She said, this is my 3rd time attempting some sort of healing thing with all of you. If this doesn't work, I'm done. And I have to tell you, I hope that's true. It's only season 3 and I am sick of all the healing things. I'm sick of it, okay? I don't want these women healing on my own time, all right? Not during my season. Do it off season. Get the help you need. I want you on my season, okay? I don't want you calming down. I want you firing up. And then Whitney lets us know she has pre-selected the rooms. Are you serious? I hate that. Don't do that. One of my favorite things on a housewife girl trip is the 45 minutes of arguing over who's going to get which room, particularly the New York franchise, because Sonia and Ramonia need a room together. They like to get ready together. They like to do their makeup. They like to shower together. They like to sleep together. They need their girl time, and they do a whole thing, and they don't want to be with anybody else. They want to be with each other getting ready. And I live for that type of toxic friendship. I love it. I thrive on it. I don't have any myself, but I so enjoy them on the TV. So when you remove that and just assign rooms, are you kidding me? No. I want some Bluestone Manor level fighting over the fish room situation. Or should I say, fighting over who's not going to sleep in the fish room. That is what I want. That is what I need. Don't pre-pick the rooms. Whitney gives Jen Shah the master because she committed fraud and allegedly stole a bunch of old people's money. So she gets the best room in the house. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be cruel. I understand she's going away for a very long time. They're trying to treat her a little bit before she heads off, but I don't think that's fair. And Whitney gives the girls the most necessary gift on a Housewives franchise, whatever they're, shoveling down our throats lately. So naturally, Whitney is giving out her Wild Rose, Rose Wild, whatever, and some cute little robes with their initials on them. It's cute. Whitney and Heather sit down. They're just chatting about how Jen Shah was emotional when she first arrived, because this is kind of a party for Jen Shah, kind of a trip for her to get away, about how Lisa isn't nervous at all. Heather thinks she absolutely should be nervous. And then Whitney shares that Meredith told her the rumors about Lisa, and Heather is like smiling, and she's like, I'm trying not to smile because she cannot believe that she would confide in Whitney of all people. It's really interesting. I do think that's an interesting point. Why Whitney? I'm not quite sure. And Whitney's like, yeah, she unloaded on me. She told me everything. The cheating allegations, the affairs, but of course also the supposed exchange of sex acts for promoting or spreading Vita tequila, and Heather absolutely cannot keep it together. She is busting at the seams. She's like, wait. She's doing sexual favors to promote Vita tequila. Seriously? I mean, it is hilarious. I don't believe it. I think this is the dumbest rumor ever. So the shaman arrives. Whitney is just absolutely excited. I love that when he said to dress very boho chic and casual. No, everyone is fully glammed out. They are not very casual. Meredith is late as usual. She's getting glammed. She's on the phone. She's in no rush to get this healing treatment. And Whitney's not waiting. She's like, I need to heal now. Okay, I got some demons. I got some shit going on. I need to work on it, and I cannot wait for your ass. And I have to say, I think Meredith actually makes a really good point here. She's talking to her husband, saying she doesn't really think she's in the headspace to do this shaman thing. She doesn't think it's the right time, because it's all about kind of, releasing your energy and kind of opening yourself up. And she's not really ready to do that with Lisa here. It's not the proper setting for her. And I totally respect that. And I agree. You don't have to open up here. You don't have to go there right now if you don't want to. I would skip out on that shit too. I'm not getting vulnerable in front of these women. I'm just not. So the girls are all sitting in the lawn in their blankies, and they're passing around a cacao elixir, which I've never heard of in my life. And they're going to share what they are releasing and what they actually want the universe to bring them, I guess. I don't know. Whitney is letting go of her past trauma, and she's welcoming in or calling in wellness. So good for Whitney. I know she really thinks she needs that. And they seal it with a little drink. Heather is releasing problems with her family, shame. And then we get to Jen, and Jen is, of course, releasing the fear of going to trial, which she is doing in 10 days. And, of course, she just has to make it terrible, and she says, I'm calling in my innocence and my family, blah, 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 blah. Girl, you are not innocent. You did that. You know you did that. Lisa just opens with, I suck at this. But then she starts to cry. And she says she's releasing hurt, and she's accepting love and kindness and whatever. So they're sealing that nice chapter. And now they're going to start their breath work. And now Meredith comes strolling down the stairs behind Lisa. Lisa looks nervous. And Whitney is so shady. She put Meredith right next to Lisa. I have to know, by the way, where did they get these blankets? Okay. These pastel blankets are so adorable. I might not want the healing, but I do want the blankets. So if any of you have any intel on that, let me know ASAP. The shaman asks Meredith if there's anything she wants to release and then call in. Meredith says she's not ready to go there, and then she starts crying. She's upset. So then they lay back. They look like they have like weighted blankets on or something, and they're doing breathing exercises. Jen Shaw's crying. The healer's trying to help her, and she just said she's scared. She's thinking about her family. She keeps seeing her family's faces. I have to tell you, though, I was a little struck by Lisa's moment here. She is crying, and you expect that it's because of everything going on with Meredith and her friends, and that's what she would be so upset about. No, that's not it at all. She says that the memory that kept coming back to her head is when she was a little girl. She feels abandonment because of this one memory she has that keeps popping up in her brain. She was at a play area. She was going down the slide over and over and over again. Her dad said, this is the last time and then we're going to leave. She didn't listen. She kept going down the slide. Next thing you know, she can't find her parents. She goes to the desk, says, I can't find my parents. They left her. They were there. They forgot about her, or they either forgot about her or they chose to leave without her. Like, I don't know what to believe. I mean, that is like the saddest thing. I hope it wasn't intentional, but it kind of feels like it was. Meredith is just being brought back to where she was last year with her father passing and her nephew who's suffering from mental health issues. They end it with a big scream. Everyone's yelling to like let it all out, I guess. Meredith shares that she's worked with a shaman before, so she's sorry that she was late today. She just didn't really feel safe. She felt a lot of anxiety. Heather asks if you feel safer now that you've gone through this and you're with friends and all that. And she's like, no, not really. And Lisa makes the mistake of saying, I used to be a safe place for you. Meredith says, you are not a safe space for me. Lisa books it out of there. She's upset. She just removes herself from the room. Heather goes to check on Lisa to make sure she's okay. And Lisa's just like, yeah, like, I had to get out of there. Like, what am I supposed to do? And Heather's like, you should have sat in it for a little bit. You should be there. You shouldn't really break away. And I kind of agree. I think that was, believe it or not, I believe that was an opening. I know it doesn't seem like an opening, but I think Meredith was giving Lisa an opening for a more proper apology. It wasn't the time for her to walk away. And this is the season of charcuterie boards. We have a caprese salad, delicious looking food. Yum. Meredith asks what was everyone releasing, for the beginning part that she missed with the shaman. And Jen opens up a little bit more about her impending trial, the fact that they keep getting new discovery, new evidence. It's like making her kind of freak out. The other night, she drove to her dad's grave at like 2, 3 a.m. Coach Shaw called her asking, where are you? So she blocked him. I feel bad for Coach. I do and I don't, because I don't know the extent of what he knows. But I also feel bad because he didn't necessarily commit these crimes. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. Let me know how you guys feel. And then Whitney decides to share with the group what she's going through right now with her suppressed memories that she's blocked, and just kind of everything that's been coming back to her lately as she's been on this journey of like recovering her well-being, basically, her healing process. And then she starts crying. She says, I was in such an abusive situation growing up that I just blocked all memory of it. And she's so upset. You can tell she's in so much pain. I love Heather, but the look she shoots her, it doesn't look like a face of concern or like, oh my God, or shock or hurt. I don't know. I think the big fight is going to be Heather does not believe Whitney. And that's fucked up if that's the truth. All Heather says is, you? And Whitney nods and is like, yes. And then I don't know, the look on Heather's face. I think we know. I think she doesn't believe it. And that is it for episode number 2 of Salt Lake City, you guys. What did you think? Are you excited for this season? How could you not be? This is such an exciting season. I wish more people were watching Salt Lake City. All of my friends who watch Housewives don't watch Salt Lake City, and I'm trying to convince them, like, no, you have to give it a chance. It is so spicy. Anyways, you guys, thank you for listening to the podcast today. Don't forget to check out my last episode where we recapped the season finale of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It was so, so good. I cannot wait to see you guys next week for the reunion. Everything else. Oh my gosh, Sunday, don't we have Potomac? Like, we are really kicking it up over here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. All my information will be down below. Definitely come say hi. I would love to talk to you guys about Housewives more. leave a comment, and don't forget to leave a rating. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you later. Bye.